Good day to you and welcome, I'm Mechanization, and today I want to talk about one quite an interesting problem which is gonna become a more and more visible one in Hearthstone as the development cycle continues. So with Ministry of Gadgets on, Hearthstone achieved an interesting milestone. Right now, players can actually get over 1,000 cards in Hearthstone, and those are the collectible ones. Altogether, there's supposed to be over 1,300 different cards that a player can play in some way or acquire them in game. So, what does this mean? And now, let me talk about just the ones that are collectible. The fact that there's over 1,000 cards means that there is definitely a power creep. That's one of the first things. So we can see it right here. We have Enchanted Raven, which is a 1 mana cost 2/2. If I were to go here, you can see that there is this Angry Chicken. There is Elven Archer. Murlocs are always weaker. These things, like for example, Injured Qualier is not that great, and so on and so on. So there is quite a lot of cards which actually have quite some impact, and it's, I think, clearly visible with 2-drops, as some new 2-drops tend to be, well, a bit better than the ones we got. The greatest example of all, the early or previously unplayable, where are you? Oh yeah, previously unplayable Magma Rager became Ice Rager, which is a significantly better card. So that is one of the things, that we have cards that are similar or plain better, such as a 4/3 Taunt. That is plain better compared to the previous Taunt, which was where are you? Not Taunt. Taunt. To a previous Taunt, which was, in terms of neutral cards, okay, this is, for example, First Wolf and Bombs Thespian. There is just a plain power creep here, as well as, well, this is at least a beast, so there is this slight thing. However, Squirming Tentacle, a 2/4. 2/4 is definitely worse than a Hard Gun, which is a 4/3. In terms of stats distribution, it has different aspects and it can be better against aggro, but hey, there is one stat missing. So that is one of the issues, that more and more cards will occur which will be like this. This, however, leads to another big issue, and this issue is the arena. And in Constructed, they have created a way around the problem of having too many cards by creating Standard. So Standard is a place where you are supposed to play, I think it's gonna be somewhere between 500, maybe 400 cards. So it's quite limited, and the cards that are completely or would be usually completely useless are not really in the game at all. And the cards that could actually create issues if being in game, in terms of creating combos that no one wants to do, or no one wants to actually create from the developer standpoint because they would be overpowered, it allows them some developer freedom. And that's definitely good in terms of Constructed. In terms of Arena, where almost all the cards are available, this is quite an issue. I mean, a large number of cards. We saw this in the latest in the latest arena-related patch, where they actually had to remove some of the really bad cards from, and in some cases really good cards, from some of the classes in order to make them more viable. And this more or less meant just one thing. Mage was getting too good because Arena is not the primary concern for the developers, because in Constructed, Mage is actually okay some aspects or some types of mage are good or pretty good, but actually it's not the topest, you know what I mean. The real top tier is most likely not mage. And in the arena, it is definitely mage. And by removing some of the bad cards, they gave some chance for players to actually not get shitty cards, therefore their average deck was better, therefore everyone had slightly better chance against everyone else, also, as well as mages. But as the amount of cards gets higher and higher and higher, there is this issue of scissors. So on the one side of the scissors, we have good cards, or really good cards, and on the other side we have really bad cards. And as we add more and more and more, these two sides there is more space in between them, which means that players can actually get or have higher chance, I would say, of getting different really bad cards. I almost want to say shitty cards, because that's what can happen. Once again, the example is actually this one. You can either get an Iron for Grizzly or a Hired Gun. Hired Gun has more to it in terms of what it can offer, what it can destroy. In the arena, which is usually minion-based combat, it's really important. In terms of those Ragers, this is just a huge difference, because this dies to mage, this doesn't. Quite a difference. And as more and more these, not just these plain showcases, but if I were to go, for example, to 6-drops, and you can see that the original 6-drop, or the new one, okay, this is not a good card. Almost everyone will agree. Ancient of Blossoms is not a new card, is not a really good card, so it actually goes towards the side of bad, so people who get it might be mad because they would rather choose Boulder Fist Ogre over Ancient of Blossoms. And if this kind of situation happens a lot of times, that means that your deck is on average pretty bad. Which leads, I believe that this will happen in arena and those arena stats by, what's the name of the software? I can't recall. They will be giving lower scores and much more higher scores. For example, I even saw scores over 150, which were not present in the game earlier. So this can happen. Also -22 or this thing, and well. This means that players will have a lot more difficult time drafting, and not because of their drafting skills. It will be because if you are unlucky enough, you will actually get a deck which is unplayable. Simply because other players might get too good cards. And I'm really looking for something to illustrate this on. Okay, so the joust mechanics. However, Priestess of Elune is a bad card in the arena. At least can be considered a really bad card. Nerubian Prophet, on the other hand, is a really good card. Why? Because it's a 4/4 for 6, which is more or less similar. However, 4/4 for 5 is also bad. 4/4 for 4 is acceptable. 4/4 for 3 is insane, and 4/4 for 2 is absolutely ridiculous. And this just showcases the difference between the two. You might have to choose Priestess of Elune because it's the best card you are being offered, because there can be Wisp or something like that. However, in almost every case, if another player instead of Priestess of Elune gets Nerubian Prophet, their result will be better because it's a newer card, it's more interesting card, it's better card. And if we put these two on turn 6 against each other, it's a draw. However, Nerubian Prophet has more uses than Priestess of Elune in general. And as this will continue, drafting an arena will be a lot less about skill and your drafting abilities and your knowledge than it will be about pure luck. About pure luck of what you get. Because once, and I was first thinking that the final result would be 1000, however, as we can see, at 1000 it's getting there. It's not still problematic, but we can right now see that 1000 is really a huge amount of cards. And though it's not really 1000 in the arena, it's really close. And I truly believe that once Hearthstone will hit 1500 cards, the problem will become a major one, and arena will not be an enjoyable experience anymore, simply because drafting a solid arena deck will be not difficult. It will be just really lucky compared to the previous experiences, as in the original Hearthstone, where it was mostly, once again, minion-based combat. People just knew that, okay, a really good 4-drop is a 4/5, and people that got Yetis, a lot of Yetis were considered ridiculously lucky, but having an average deck meant that you can actually deal with Yeti and you can deal with a lot of other things. Having an average deck now means that you are as likely to get, once again, a really shitty deck, which you will beat immensely well, or a really good deck, which will beat you immensely well. And your skill will not matter, because the difference between these decks is such a great one that you won't be able to do anything about it. And that wasn't the case in the first, even in the next Ramas, even in GVG. In GVG it's slightly good there because of the max synergy, and if you got more max synergy you had a better deck in general. However, it wasn't a real problem, it was just like some people got really lucky. However, in here, a time when skill won't matter in the arena, or play skill won't matter in the arena, because the difference between the decks will be so vast that any play that you make won't matter, because the other person will just have every single turn a better card than you do. That will be an option even if you draft an average deck. And that, I believe, will hit once Hearthstone hits 1500, and if no restrictions will be once again imposed in the onto the arena, because, well, we need to get rid of some really bad cards. If we take a look at the what's the name? Not Ice Rager, the second one, I completely forgot its name. Magma Rager. If we look at the Magma Rager, this can be completely removed from the arena. If we take a look at some other cards that are just Alarmabot, no one's drafting this in the arena. No one, because everyone knows that it's a really bad card. Umgum Rager, I haven't seen this in the arena once. And if we remove the lowest tier possible, which is actually like this, some of the cards are completely useless. Not just that the average deck will get higher, that's obvious. However, once again, the difference between the worst deck and the best deck will lower. It won't be as visible as it is right now, and as it will in some later expansions be. And that will mean that players will have more options and actually more possibilities to show their skills and to showcase the difference in abilities in the game. As some people simply have better decks, and you can beat them even with a worse deck if you're a better player. sometimes. However, as time will continue, that won't matter. So, that is my little worry about what might happen to Hearthstone's arena, and, well, the amount of cards might just get too high. Well, hope that you enjoy this. If you agree, disagree, or if you have any ideas that you want to share about this kind of issue or any other issue that might plague the game later on, please feel free to comment. Well, thanks for watching, and see you next time.